What's up, you guys? If you are struggling to get a nice blend, you're getting lost in your fades, don't know how to take out guidelines, having trouble detailing, in this video, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to accomplish everything that you need to know about detailing, how to fade, how to set in guidelines, how to contour a fade to the client's head shape. Always, we're going to start by just combing right through the client's head. At this point of the haircut, you're just lifting the hair off of the scalp because it's easier for the guard to run through the hair. You're also looking for any callus that's going on. Right here, you can see my client have a mole. So I have to be very, very mindful when I'm running the guard over that area and when I get ready to do his lineup. We also want to keep this area a lot more darker because we want to hide this as much as we can. So I'm going to show you guys how to deal with this part of the haircut as we get there. We are going to be doing a high burst fade with no C-cup. All right, so we're just going to throw on the 3 guard. I am going to be using my Babyliss FX clipper. So we have the 3, I'm all the way closed, and we're just going to go with the grain. So right here, I know it's darker right here and it's lighter right on his corners. So I'm cool to come straight down the middle and just go right through the hairline. When I start to get to the corners, what I want to do is I want to come and I want to float right over that. I don't want to go right down with it because I still want to keep this a little bit darker. I don't want to lighten that up. We're just going to be using just the hilt of the guard. I'm just going to be using this. I'm not going to have the clipper flat like this because I don't want to cut that much hair. Now, the minute I get to this spot, I'm just going to just use the hilt of the blade. And we're not cutting that much hair. Again, this should be the easiest part of the haircut. So now we're just gonna set in our first initial bald guideline. We're gonna be going with a high burst fade. And we're gonna make this guideline contour to my client's head shape. So we're gonna start right at the bottom of the vertical bar. So we're gonna start right at the bottom and we're just gonna make a U shape. And I'm gonna bring this all the way down. Right when I get right here to the ear, I like to just fold the ear back. And now I'm going to come and connect the line. And now we're just going to use a corner again, just to connect the rest of the line. Now I have a nice little line in I can see. You see I contoured it to my client's head shape. So now when I do the fade is going to fit his head shape perfectly. Now we can just get rid of all this bulk right at the bottom. Again, this should be, when you are debulking the hair at the bottom, this should be another easy part of the haircut. Now when I am using this shaver, I do not want to bring it all the way up to this line. So right when I get like a centimeter from this line, I'm going to start to scoop out. I am going to be using just a single side of the shaver. And you can see how I am flicking out. You can also think when you are using this shaver, this is the first form of your transition. But in this area, my client don't have that big of a vertical bar, so he's really not giving me that much room to fade. You know, if you're having trouble with your guideline placement, you can always go with the 3-finger method, and that can tell you exactly where you should be placing your lines. This should be no guard open, this should be 1, and this should be your 2. But I can still do that. So this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to follow this going right down in that shape. We're going to start with no guard open and we are going to set in our first guideline. And I am still going to stretch out this fade. And we're going to keep it nice and consistent and we are going to follow that same shape. Make sure your guidelines that you are setting in are very neat. If you are setting in sloppy guidelines, I promise you, your fade is going to come out sloppy as well. And you want to keep everything nice and consistent. Now, if you're struggling taking out this bottom line, which a lot of people do, we're going to come back and we're just going to tap this bottom line with the same trimmer that we set the line in with. So we're just going to just come in and we're just going to tap at the line. And we're just going to lift it up just a little bit. This is softening up the line for you. So now when I come back with my clipper, that's 0 gap, it should come out with no problem. Now we're going to take out the line. I'm going to start close and I'm going to just start to tap at the line. In this step of the fade, I'm really not using the full blade. I'm using like majority of my corners. Once that line shifts, we're going to open up the lever 1 notch and we're just going to go up a little bit more. Now we're going to go halfway in the lever and I should be at the very, very top of my guideline. And as you can see, my line is out. And remember, I'm still using just the corners. Now we're gonna go halfway in the lever. Now I should be at the very, very top of my guideline. Now we're gonna jump to the 1 guard and we're gonna start close. And we're gonna keep the same exact shape. So we start close and I'm brushing, clearing off my canvas just to see exactly what I'm doing. And we're still keeping the same exact shape. And right when I get to the top, I'm kind of scooping out because I do not want to create such a harsh guideline for myself. So now if I was to come and cut this hair just like this, you see it's not going to cut because that's not the way that the hair is growing. Now if I come back and now that I hit it with its exact growth pattern, you can see the hair is cutting now. And I'm just going over it multiple times. Just listen to your clipper. Whenever your clipper, you can almost just feel the hair feeding through the clipper. Once I don't feel that anymore, that's when I know I really have this guideline down to its desired length. And that's why it's also important to keep brushing so you can see exactly what you're doing. Now we're gonna take this line out right away. Now we're gonna come back with the half. And we're gonna start halfway in the lever, which means I should be halfway in this guideline. In this step of the fade, we're gonna do the same exact thing. We're gonna use majority of the corners. We're gonna brush after every stroke. And slowly but surely, you're gonna see this fade really start to lighten up. And that's pretty much like what I'm looking for. Now we're gonna close it up one notch. Now we're just gonna start to go a little bit lower. Now we're gonna close all the way. Now we need to be at the very, very bottom of that guideline. At this point, now that you are all the way closed in the lever, you do not want to go up any higher. You can risk really bringing your fade up. If you need to go up higher in the fade, just open up your lever a little bit. Open up your lever, and that's when you are safe to really go up in the guideline now. Now we're gonna fade out this part. We're gonna do the same as that thing. We're gonna start halfway, and we're gonna lighten up this area. Now that it lighten up, we're gonna go, close it up one notch, go a little bit lower. And you can see how I'm cutting it in this growth pattern. Now we're gonna close. This right here is throwing off my transition. All these little dark spots that you see, they're my hot spots. I need to fade that out. So I take off that half guard. Now I'm gonna go no guard open. I'm just gonna be using just like the 3 teeth that you see right here on the corners. And I'm gonna have the clipper slanted, and I'm just gonna slice right through it. And you're gonna see how much it's lightened up the transition. I'm just gonna slice right through. You can't be afraid to cut the hair. If you are afraid to cut the hair, get up there and really take out them dark spots, then you're never gonna get the look that you are looking for. Some haircuts require a lot of detail work. Some haircuts don't require detail work. Cutting hair can be tedious, but I think that's the beauty of it, why I love it so much. And now you can see how that transition is nice and smooth now. Now to finish up this fade, all we gotta do is just take out this line. But we're just gonna soften up right here on his parietal ridge where it's just a little bit too bulky for me. So we want to smoothen this out, and we want a nice transition going into the top. So I throw on the 1.5 open, and I'm just gonna come down with the grain to smooth that down a little bit. If you feel like you can close your lever, close it, but when you close, now you want to be a little bit lower. You don't want to be as high anymore. Now we're gonna come back with the grain with the 1.5, and now we are going to start to soften that up. We are gonna fade right into it. And I'm just scooping right out because we are not trying to create a harsh line. Now we're gonna close. Now I need to be at the very bottom of that line. You see how I'm brushing everything down after every stroke, clearing off the canvas to see exactly what's going on. We gotta go with the grain here. That's why you see me going upwards. Now I know this 1.5 guard is not gonna take this line out. All it's doing is just softening it up. I'm getting ready to take it out with the 1 guard. Now I'll come back with the 1 guard, and I'll be gonna take out this line. We are not focused on nothing up here anymore. Our main focus is taking out this line right here. So I'm gonna start halfway. I have a very, very soft touch right now. I'm just letting the clipper just do its job. If you put the clipper in the right spot that it needs to go, it will do its job. We have a transition. And I didn't even close the lever up. This is halfway. And we're just floating right over. Now I'm gonna close the lever up all the way. Now we're gonna get rid of the rest of that line. We giving my guy Rich a Blurry special. Now we're just gonna repeat the same exact steps on this side. I'll come back in with my baby trimmer at the bottom of the vertical bar, and we're just gonna make a rainbow shape. Right when I get to the top of the air, that's where you see me stop. And now we are going to connect the rest of the line. Now we can remove all the bulk that we have at the bottom. Now we're gonna come back in with our shaver. Remember, once I get to the line, close to it, we're gonna start to scoop out. Fold down your client ear. This is real important as well. So when you are dealing with this shaver, I cut somebody before just right here because it's super soft. It's a lot of flush like right here in this area. So you do not really want to take the shaver and really dig right in that area. You're You almost want to hover right over it. So just make sure that you are always folding that air down. Don't think this foil shaver can't nick nobody, because it definitely can. Now on this side, we're just going to start by just debulking. All this weight, we're just going to just get rid of it right away. So I'm going to come with the 1.5, and we're just going to, right when we get to the parietal ridge area, we're just going to scoop right out, because I'm not trying to create a hard guide line. I'm just trying to just soften it up. Now we're going to close. Now we're going to go a little bit lower. We don't want to go as high anymore. And this is starting my transition. Now we're gonna go no guard open. Now we're gonna set in the first line. It's very, very easy once you really develop a system. I always trust my system. I do the same exact system on every single haircut, super consistent with it. It never let me down. You treat that system good, that system gonna treat you good. Now we're going to take it out. Remember, I'm gonna work on just half, and we're gonna start close. We're gonna start to tap at the line. Once the line shifts, open up the lever 1 notch. Now we're gonna go ahead and tap that line. Now we're gonna go halfway in the lever. We should be at the very top of the guideline. Now we're gonna come back with the one guard close. And if you're wondering why I'm cutting the hair like I am, because that is the way that his hair is growing. So that's the way I have to cut his hair. If you're wondering why you can't see the guideline all like that, Rich come get his hair cut from me every single week. I'm basically just going over my old work. And most people would think that's very easy to do, but believe it or not, it's almost like a little bit more challenging to do, because you do not really have that much hair to work with. Luckily, Rich hair grows very, very fast. But it's another thing about just being consistent. Even though that Rich come get his haircut from me every week, I still can't stop giving him real quality haircuts. I can't stop being consistent. I have to give him a good haircut every single week. Because believe it or not, once you start giving clients bad haircuts, they really start to notice it. Once you start not taking your time, they start to notice that stuff as well. You just have to be consistent. That's how you retain clients. Now we're gonna go with the half guard. Now we're gonna go halfway in the lever, and we're gonna start to lighten it up. And you can see what I mean when I say it's starting to lighten up, because you can see it. Now we're gonna close the lever up 1 notch, and now we want to go a little bit lower than what we just was. Now we're gonna close up all the way. Now we're gonna go at the very bottom of the guideline. Now we're gonna take out this, same as that steps, halfway, go right through the line. Now we're gonna close up 1 notch. And you notice every time when I close up 1 notch, I'm going a little bit lower. We do not want to bring the fade up. If I need to be all the way at the top, I am all the way open when I am detailing. And all we're doing is just detailing. So we're gonna go with the 1 guard, and we're still gonna use that feather touch that I was talking about, and we're just gonna be using that hilt of the blade. Now you're gonna start to see your fade really come together. So I'm still halfway. Now I'm gonna go all the way close. Now I need to be a little bit lower. Now we're just gonna lighten this up. We're gonna do the same exact thing, halfway. We're just gonna hover right over it. We're just gonna feather this line out. Now we're gonna close it up all the way. Now we need to be at the very bottom of the line. And you just see how I'm just rocking back and forth. It's almost like I'm doing 3 strokes, and I'm just getting out of there and brushing it right back down. Please be aware of like bumps, like pimples and stuff on client faces. Just don't be running over that stuff with the clipper, because you really do not want the client bleeding. You can waste time in the shop by stopping, trying to stop the bleeding. We just need to be a little bit more mindful of this kind of stuff. Fading into the beard is going to be very, very easy. So we're just going to start close, and now we're just going to just work our way down. Close it up 1 notch. We're going to go a little bit lower. Now we halfway, and you see the more I go down, it's just literally going to fade right into the shadow. Now we are going to work on the edge area. I'm very mindful he's lighter right here. That's why we took the 3 and we grazed right over them areas, so we can still keep some hair right here, and we're not trying to just make it look like he's super, super light. And he have a mole right there as well. So that's another reason why I did not want to cut a lot of hair, because we want to cover as much hair as possible so you almost like won't see it. I'm just gonna hit the tips. This is lineup prep. To give him a nice sharp line, I'm gonna come down, and all I'm focusing on is just the tip of the edge. Right when I get to the lighter spots, I'm leaving that alone. I don't even want to touch that, but I do want to touch the corners right here. Now I'm going to come back with some holding spray, and now I'm just going to just mist it right on my client, and I'm going to brush everything down. Now we're going to be lining him up. I am going to be using my babyliss trimmers. Now we're going to line up his other vertical bar. So I always like to start in the middle, and I like to start from the weakest side. So I know the weakest side is going to be on the left side. That is your balance. And this is where everything's flow from the edge. So now I plant it right in the middle. And I'm just gonna take my time. I really do not like rushing an edge. Now remember, I did tell you, we do have a mold right there, so we had to be very, very careful with that. We're gonna go start right back in the middle because that's where everything flows from. And you can always see how I'm always turning the client's head. Now we're just going to just round this off in the back. Now I'm going to be using the Tune 45 shave gel, and there's many reasons why I feel like this shave gel is the best gel on the market. It has vitamin E in there that helps with dryness in the skin, and it also has the aloe vera that moisturizes the skin as well and softens up the skin, and it also smells really, really well. So how I like to apply it, I just like to do 2 dots. One right there, one right here, one right there. And I like to just come in like with a comb and just rub it right in. Now I'm gonna come back with the Tune 45 straight razor. And again, guys, if you guys like any of these tools that you see me using, you can go to tune45.com. You can use my discount code MooreFadez, and you can get your 10% off at checkout, and you can get yourself one of these Tune 45 razors, or you can get yourself some shave gel. So I always stretch the skin, and I had a razor angled at a 45-degree angle, and now you can see my line that I should end up with. So I kind of want to end right here, right at the bottom of the mustache. So to really pop out this corner, I'm going to tell my client to blow a bubble. And this is going to give me a lot more tension. Blow a bubble. And now you can see my line I just created. Now we are just going to clear off all the excess hair that's going on. All right, you guys, I showed you how to do a high skin burst fade, how to properly detail a fade, and how to properly do lineup prep. Comment down below if you learned anything from this video today. Once again, I am MooreFadez, and I'll see you guys on the next video.